Republican Congressman Tom Rooney says Congress should cut off funding for the military operation in Libya until the mission is debated and authorized by Congress. Going forward, do you think Congress should declare war, a formal declaration of war in Libya, or cut off funding for the mission?
Well, I think that we've gotten to the point almost of no return, because we've gone over the legal term of 60 days. We're at day 65 now. So, I think that right now we're operating under the assumption that he's not going to ask for authorization. We're not going to debate this. So I think it's almost we're at that point where we have to exercise our right not to fund it until we have a reason to. Hey, as I said in my testimony, Libya might be going in and militarily in Libya might be the greatest thing in the world. But we've never even debated it. We haven't had the administration come and explain why it's important. We just heard that he's consulted with NATO. It's important. Gaddafi has to be taken out now, and we're moving forward. And so that is literally all the information we have. And I just don't think that that's enough for us to buy into committing our troops there. The founding fathers and I think that the American people expect the Congress to play a role in this, to debate it. As I said in my testimony, it should be very hard to send our kids into harm's way. It should be very hard to commit our funds to go into theaters militarily, and that's a good thing. It shouldn't be just something that, by the discretion of one person deciding that he's going to go into a place like Libya unilaterally, with the approval of the Arab League and NATO and not the U.S. Congress. So I think at this point, it's going to be very hard for him to get the support in the House.
Should the president face any consequences for not going to Congress to get authority for a military intervention in Libya beforehand?
Well, the consequence is going to be very hard for him to get continued funding for this operation moving forward. His credibility with regard to anything that comes up in the future is going to be taken with a grain of salt. And quite frankly, there probably are members of Congress that are thinking of, as members of Congress in the past have decided to take this up with the courts and see what the courts will say. Now, in the past, the courts have denied or have refused to hear the court at the highest level, refused to hear the case at the highest level. But that doesn't mean that this current court won't under the given circumstances. And, doesn't mean also that Congress doesn't have an obligation to keep trying, which is what my resolution says, that we are relevant. Founding fathers wanted us to participate and, in fact, wanted us to take the lead when it comes to declaring war. Over the term of years, the courts have said, well, there's instances that, we might have to move in the middle of the night, that getting a declaration of war might be difficult. But that's what the War Powers Resolution, in my mind, kind of clears that up and says, okay, fine, you can move in the middle of the night if you have to, but you got 60 days to get us on board. And this president and prior presidents have ignored that. Now, other presidents, in other situations have gotten congressional authority, like after 9/11, we got authority to go after those that brought the buildings down. So it depends on which president we have in office and what their rationale is.
Congressman Rooney's comments were made after a House Foreign Relations Committee hearing on the War Powers Resolution. Nicholas Ballasy, CNSNews.com, The Capitol.